Good day, everybody. Today we are going to be cooking these ribs from Auto Joe.
Said that I would. She said that she
So I've already planned ahead today, and I have went ahead and made up the rib rub. I've done a little bit different spices in it this time, but I do have a rib rub recipe, and I'll post that for you up in the links at the top. To get these guys out, you want to have a look, and these ones here have a membrane on them, so we're going to want to pull that off of each of the rack of ribs. And the easiest way to do it is to get some paper towel and probably a butter knife. You just work the butter knife in under and use the paper towel to hold that membrane and rip it right off. So simple butter knife and some paper towel is all you're going to need for this. I usually like to find where the bone is and use that as a point just to slide my knife in underneath like that. You just want to work it around kind of gently. Finger in there. Sometimes you won't even need paper towel. I can get a good hold of that yet. Make sure you get it all though. And just pull it off. It just peels off nice and easy like that, and that's the membrane off the back of the ribs. And you're going to do that to each one of them. That one came through pretty easily, and then it's just a simple pull it straight off. I have seen a few videos lately where they actually keep the membrane on them, but I think it's a lot better just to pull it off myself. I'm not going to trim these up. I think they're all fairly decent. Come trimmed up from the back, from the butcher shop, the factory butcher shop. So now you take your rub that you've got made up. Just want to sprinkle that along. You want to be fairly liberal with it, quite a bit. You just take your hands and you'll work it in there, press it all down. All over, rub it in. Now for these guys, they're actually going to go inside and sit for a bit, and we're going to let this soak / melt all over, and then I'll apply some more of the rub to them in a little bit. And then for right now, we're going to let the Kamado Joe get the temperature. I believe it's around 225 degrees, but I'll double check that and get back to it.
The grill is 260 to 275 degrees, so we still got to go up a little bit. So you'll see I got the top just cracked just a bit. There's our gauge, straight on, you can see a better shot. And then down here at the bottom, I have it set just past. I have a general mark right here where I usually keep it open to for other items. And I've got open just a little past that. I'll probably put it just a little on the other side of that line.
See my setup in there.
I got my grill on top. You can see I got a dish of water sitting on one of the heat deflectors. The heat deflector being that ceramic plate down there. There's our pan of water. I've got a brick right here, and that's a fire brick. And then on the other side of that, I got my charcoal lit just in one spot in the center, and then I let it burn out from there. And that keeps the coals over to one side of the grill there. You can see the coal, or the grate down in the bottom as well with the little circular holes. So I like to use hickory, and I've used large chunks of it. and I've got them soaking here in water. And those will get added to the ashtray on the Kamado Joe. So just to start out, I'm going to throw this one wet chunk of hickory wood into that ashtray, and then we'll just take that ashtray and we just slide it right into the bottom of the Joe like that, push it all the way in there. And then the hot coals that fall through that ash grate inside, they fall down there and they burn away on that piece of hickory wood. Shut that back down to about there. We'll let that sit and begin to smoke.
All right, so next up, we got to make the mop for these ribs. So we've pulled out a half cup of the rub, got a lager beer, and we've got our garlic grilling sauce to add in there as well. So first thing, I'm going to dump this in. It's our half cup of rub in there. Then we'll open up this Corona. We're dump almost the whole thing in there. That's probably just about right there. Then we'll open up this grilling sauce. You don't have to use the exact ingredients that I'm using either, as long as you get there somehow. So a whole bottle of this, which is 355 milliliters. Then take that last little bit of beer, dump it in there. It said about a half a tall boy, and the Coronas are smaller anyway, so I'm going to use the whole Corona. Swish that around, cleans out this bottle. Dump the rest of that in there, no problem. Once you got all your ingredients in there, mix it all up and then put it aside, and you'll use that later on. Okay, some people like to lay these ribs flat. I actually like to use a rib rack. And what we're going to do is we're going to put them meat side to the flame, so that they sit in there just like that. Make sure your lid can close without coming into contact with your ribs. And that's going to sit there for about an hour. And we'll monitor the temperature in between, keeping it at 260 to 275.
When you're bringing these up to heat, you want to make sure that you bring them up to heat and then let them sit there for a while. That way your ceramics are all the same temperature all the way through. So if you just get it up to your 260 degrees and then 3 ribs on, that's probably not going to be good because it's still going to bounce around a little bit. You want to get it at 260 and have it sit there consistently for at least 40 minutes. That way you know your ceramics and everything else that you've got in there, your pan of water, your grill grates, everything is all up to temperature.
Okay, so we've been through an hour of grilling, and you can see on these ribs that they are starting to look a little dry on there. So we'll take our mop and we'll mop them up. Now, before, just as I set that mop down out here, I actually shook it up so it'd be nice and mixed up. Make sure you do that. And I put it on the top of the ribs and let it run down. Do that to each section. Don't go sparingly on it, put it on very liberally. Make sure you get her all soaked. These things are cooking nice on there. Super low heat cooking is amazing. I love when these ribs are all done. It tastes amazing. You can smell the garlic. Garlic. I say garlic. You can smell the garlic in this mop. It smells excellent. That's it. Once you got them all soaked, you're good to go. You can shut down the lid. You're done.
So one of the things to remember is you need to check the water level in your pan, and if you're gonna add water, like we do right now, I just get some water from the tap,
and I dump it in there carefully as possible. Pull that back up. Yeah, it took that whole thing of water down in there. So I'll pull back up. Now I can keep those ribs nice and moist. Okay, so now we got 2 hours of cooking time behind us, and they are looking really good. They're also looking dry. One thing that we're going to do at this point is take the ribs and flip them over so you can see everything is looking really nice. Before I flip those over though, I think I'm going to drench them on this side. Then I'll flip them up and flip them over. Probably make it a little bit easier. Stuff's nice and runny, so it's going on these ribs really nice. Yeah, so we got this side of them all done. Take the tongs, put these guys over as best we can. Yeah, they're still pretty stiff. We need about another hour. At this point, when you're flipping ribs over, if you have any that look like they're not cooking up as fast as the others, or you have some that are cooking faster, you want to change them around so that you get them to the warmer areas. So the ones that aren't cooking as fast, maybe put them to the front of the rib rack and the other ones to the back, and that'll help your cooking along. Yeah, those flipped over actually pretty easily. Make sure our rack is where we want it. Now I'm gonna give them a final coat on here. Moisten everything up on this side. And I can do about another hour. We'll do these guys just fine. Okay, this is our 3rd hour of cooking, and look at those ribs. I'm gonna take the rest of my mop, soak them up. This time I'm just gonna stream it down there like this. Just perfect. Beautiful. See how those pick up. The end's breaking apart. Oh yeah. Those are getting done. You know what though? I think I'm gonna let those sit for another half hour. Just perfect heat going on in there. Okay, this is after 3.5 hours. Slow cooked ribs at 260 degrees Fahrenheit. These are now done. You can see that meat's just pulling away from, rips right off of there. That's perfect. These, look right in the center. Done. This is perfect. They're not scorched or anything. They're just perfectly done. These over here, pick them up in the middle without ripping them. What an excellent day. Thanks for watching the video if you made it this far. I hope you enjoy whatever rib recipe you come up with. I've included the ingredients that I made these ones with. Try your own. Your taste may be different than mine. Have a good day, people. I don't know if you can see down in there or not, but it's basically just red coals, maybe a few larger chunks of charcoal that are left down in there. We pretty much used everything up in our 3.5 hours of cooking, but we started up an hour before that. So really we'd be like 4.5 hours of burn time in there on a half a grill without refueling.